In order to recycle these clients, there's two parts to it. Okay. And so we've got to, number one, we've got to get them on the calendar so that we're not just showing up unannounced or showing up at their building or doing anything, weird like that. And the second part is like, once you're there, you need a strategy for how to navigate it, because there is a fine line. We don't want to sell them repairs on something that should be under a warranty, right? We want to act in good ethics. We want to have, stand by our core values. And I think in doing that, this strategy is going to outline for you guys how to do that. Okay. Number one, how do we generate those opportunities? How do we get them back on the calendar? How do we bring them back around without it being weird? And so the first part is we need to know who we're going to reach back out to. And then I'll show you how to reach back out to them and what to say. So actually, let me ask this question. Is there anyone here that has sold commercial roofing products in the past that does not have access to their past clients, that does not have access to a database or a CRM? If you do, you guys I can't see you guys right now since I'm sharing my screen, but if you do, or if that's you, then feel free to speak up. Okay, so I'm going to, just based on nobody saying anything, I'm going to assume that everyone, if you've sold commercial roofing products in the past, that you can access your previous clients' data, okay? Because that's a key element here. And so we're going to pull the list of data, and the data categories that you'll need, which any CRM or spreadsheet should have these five points of data, but you'll obviously need their name. You'll need email and a phone number so that we have means to contact them, their property address, so you know where the property's at, the job type, so we know if it was a replacement or a repair, and then the year that the work was performed. Okay. And then here's what we're going to do with that data. I like the idea of starting with the oldest customer data first. If we think about it, just think about it logically, the oldest jobs that you have are the most likely to have issues, right? They've experienced freeze thaw cycles. They've experienced, being beat up by the UV rays and, everything in between. So starting with the oldest data, we're going to send out a semi-customized email utilizing the warranty inspection email. Okay. And so I've already pre-written this for you guys. And it's not to say that it's the only way. It's just saying that it's the way that makes sense in my mind and what we created for the client that we actually created this for originally. And so I'm going to share that with you guys now. And so I just had to jump out of the full screen. Tanner, can you just confirm? Can you see the warranty inspection email now?
Yes.
Perfect. All right. Now I'll zoom in just a little bit further for you guys. So if you want to read it on your own, you can, but I'm going to jump in here so I can provide a little context. So what I would do is I would send this out in an email format to each of those customers, like I said, starting with the oldest customers first. And this is what it says. In our ongoing company tradition of maintaining top quality customer care for our past clients, we'd like to let you know we're approaching the 3-year mark since your roof replacement or repair. Now, I think I'm stating the obvious here, but the number 3 is highlighted because you guys should change that to whatever is relevant to that data, right? So if you're reaching back 5 years or you're reaching back 7 years, then you would just change that to however long it's been since you've actually been out there on their property. And what we'd say is, to comply with manufacturer requirements, we need to schedule your 36-month warranty compliance inspection. All right. So we're coming out there ideally to ensure that their roof is still within compliance of the warranty. We have a team of maintenance and roofing inspection experts on staff who will quickly inspect the roof to confirm the condition of the property's roof and ensure all roofing components are in compliance. You'll be provided with a copy of our report, but we'll need a representative on site to sign off for the inspection. Okay. And again, I want to be clear with you guys, don't say this if you're not going to actually do it this way, right? So we want to speak the truth to these people. So the idea would be that you are going to do an inspection, you are going to put a report together, and I'll walk you guys through the step-by-step of that here in just a minute, all right? Our rep will be inspecting properties within your area within the next 10 days. Please let us know which day and time works best for your convenience. And then what I would do is down here where I said insert the calendar link here, I would just use something like Calendly. There's probably hundreds of different softwares or systems you can use to put in a calendar link, but I would change the availability to where they can only book up to 10 days out. So if they clicked on my calendar link today, it would only allow them to book, an appointment between now and 10 days. And so that way, we're not pushing these things out 30 days from now. We would send them that email. It would have the calendar link. And for anyone that doesn't book within 2 days of that email, we would just call them up, which is why you'd need their phone number, and book over the phone. So if you're wondering what to say, I would say the exact same thing that's in the email. Hey, it's been a few years, it's been 36 months it's been 3 years since we came out to your property. We need to come out and do our 36-month, inspection, warranty compliance inspection, and just run through all of the details within that email because it covers everything. All right. So utilize that as your script. And then once the appointment's actually set, you'll need a strategic plan for navigating the appointment, right? Just needs to be quick, simple, easy for the client, but also for you, right? You don't want to go out and spend a half day on each one of these roofs. Well, unless it's, large enough and worth it for you. Before the appointment, so at this point, we have the appointment on the calendar. They know we're coming out. And before the appointment, this is like pretty tactical stuff here. So I would print off an aerial view. And so this is more so for those of you guys that are not familiar with doing commercial inspections. I would print off an aerial view of the property and pin it to a clipboard. So you could either, order like a roofer or an Eagle View, or you could just go old school and like screenshot Google Maps or a Google Earth photo of the property. But the idea here is that while you're up on the roof, that you have something to notate and mark the locations of any issues you find on that roof, right? Any of the deficiencies that we find up on the roof. We just want to be able to like pinpoint to where those were at. Little pro tip for you. Okay. And so again, within this classroom right now, or this Zoom room with all of you guys, there's a multitude of levels. So there's some people, like I said, that are brand new to looking at commercial roof systems and may not even know the difference between TPO and PVC. And then there's some of you guys on the opposite end of the spectrum that have been doing this for, probably in excess of 20 years. So just because I wasn't sure where everyone would be, or the majority of the room would be, I did, and you guys will get access to this. I did outline like my simplest version of the things that I would look at on a commercial roof system for you guys, and wrote out some context there. So those of you guys that are in the program right now, you can definitely look at this. But if you go to the contact to contract classroom within school, there's a way more in depth on how to do, how we coach on doing our inspections. So you guys can go take a look at that. But everyone here today will get access to this like how to do the roof inspection. Okay. And one last little token or note here on this slide is that we need to look at the entire roof on the building. And it may sound like duh, but a lot of times what guys will do is they'll get caught up on whatever looks the worst, and they'll forget to look at the rest of the roof. I know from experience. Once we're on the roof, we take a look at everything. We're going to document those deficiencies on the roof. I will give you guys without going too far in depth today on how to document your deficiencies. Essentially, I've got a video and the documents needed so that you can go through and systematically like outline what needs to be happening, or what the issues are on the roof. And then I'll have you guys categorize the issues into 2 buckets. All right. So we obviously don't, I said this in the beginning, right? And so this is kind of going back to like our moral compass. If we find issues that should be covered by our warranty, well, we should cover those on our warranty, right? We shouldn't charge them for the issues that we come across that fall under that bucket. But then we want to separate the other issues that we find that are not from, lack of, just that are not bad materials or from our workmanship. So yeah, we'll separate the two: warranty work versus repairs and maintenance. When we hop down, we're going to want to build a quote for, like I said, we're not going to quote to fix the warranty issues. We'll just chalk that up as an L, and we'll fix those if we find them. But we're going to build a quote for the repair issues and the ongoing maintenance. Okay. And then when we quote those repairs, we must be sure to include the repair and maintenance items only, which is what I was just talking about, not the warranty issues. So as an example, repair and maintenance issues would be like sealant or caulking degradation, right? Drain cleanouts, pitch pans that need re-poured, right? Protrusion pipe boots or flashings that are, worn out and leaking or cracked or things of that sort. Like none of that's covered by warranty. So that's all stuff you need to charge for, right? And as a reminder, like I said, there's going to be multiple times within this. I just want to remind you guys that your warranty covers them from bad materials and flaws in the install process, and does not cover act of God, act of idiots, or lack of maintenance, but maintenance agreement does. So once we've hopped down off the roof, we put our report together, we put a little bit of a quote together for anything that we found. We're going to show the client what we found, right? We're going to say, hey, look, we found X, Y, and Z. This is covered by your warranty. This is not. And we just share that with them. Now, I wanted to take it a step further for you guys, though, and tell you a few, or, share some word tracks with you that I think would help within the conversation and help things go over a little bit smoother. So I'm going to blow this bad boy back up here. Tanner, can you confirm that you can still see the slides for me?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay. So I've got a few word tracks here that I'm going to share with you guys, and a few points of reference that I would utilize in the conversation if you guys were the building owner. All right. So the first thing I would do, and this actually kind of goes into the prep work. Earlier I talked about the prep work of printing off a diagram of the aerial view of the roof. You should probably also go back and find a copy of their manufacturer's warranty, or if you know that you put a GAF roof on their building, then go back and just print off the GAF, warranty paperwork from their website. And so what I would do is the first thing I would do is I would leverage that manufacturer. The manufacturers give you a lot of power in offering something like this. Okay. So I would leverage their terms and conditions. I went ahead and took a screenshot from the GAF warranty itself for the TPO systems. And I think Brian, one of my business partners here, he went through and he highlighted the sections that he would point out to the actual building owner, right? So and this is not just GAF, this is like pretty much every manufacturer has language in their warranties about doing maintenance and how it is prescribed from the manufacturer, right? So first part, it says the owner must follow a maintenance program in accordance with the instructions found on the reverse side. Coatings over smooth surface products must be maintained to protect the membrane surface. And exclusions from coverage. So they will not cover leaks caused by inadequate roof maintenance, including failure to follow maintenance programs set forth on the reverse side. Right. So I've always found power in being able to reference something that people have trust in. Right. And for whatever reason, the way that warranties are sold or warranties are discussed or thought about in modern day society is that they build trust with our clients from the manufacturers. Right. So we've got to bridge that gap, and we can leverage this paperwork to do so. Next thing I'd say is I would explain to the building owners that good roofs don't leak all the time, but all roofs leak at some point in time. Okay. And so you'll notice that, especially for you guys here in the program, if you start to get into the language that we push you guys to utilize in your marketing, this is a common one. So good roofs don't leak all the time, but all roofs leak at some point in time. And so I'd share that with the building owner. And so what I'd say is, like, in reference to that, right, about not all good roofs leaking or good roofs not leaking all the time, but all roofs leaking at some point in time, I would follow that up with, like, so what that means, Mr. Building Owner, is that a 25-year roof system doesn't necessarily last 25 years on its own. And so it's like, we have this nice, beautiful white membrane across your flat roof, or we have this, whatever roof system that is set up to be a 25-year product, but it has a bunch of counterparts and byproducts that are set up with a lifespan of 4 to 6 years. Again, this is all the things I was speaking about earlier, right? It's the caulkings, the sealants, the flashings, the pitch pour, and all of those types of things that don't last to 25 years. And so I would share with them the only guaranteed thing about this 25-year roof system is that it's not set up to, it's guaranteed not to last the 25 years on its own. And infamously, so this is, for those of you guys that don't know, this is Brian. I've made mention of him a couple of times. He's one of our business partners here at commercialroofer.com. And he says roofs leak for only 3 reasons. Okay. And so this all ties together, if you guys haven't noticed. So it's like, hey, you're not all roofs leak, or not all good roofs leak, but all roofs leak at some point in time. The reason that they leak is because they're not set up to last this entirety of 25, 30 years. But the actual reason they're going to leak is for only 3 reasons. Act of God, right? We have the sun beating down. We have freeze thaw cycles. We have, weather systems that are rolling through every couple months. And that's act of God. Act of idiot are like the bullets that you're finding on the roof. It's the panels that are being dropped on the commercial roof system from the HVAC, the HVAC guys that are up there dropping tools and panels and stepping on screws. And so we have act of God, we have act of idiot, and we have lack of maintenance. But doing maintenance takes care of all 3 of those things. So you have, peace of mind and don't have to worry about it, right? And then last but not least, I would just say, and so all that to say, your warranty covers, the bad materials, or, the instance that your materials were not built to par. It covers flaws in the install process, but it doesn't cover those 3 things, right? But a maintenance agreement does. And that's what I'm offering you. So then we'd sign the deal. So actually, I'm going to take one step back for a second, because to clarify for you guys, we're trying to sell 2 things here. We're trying to sell the repair because we want to take care of any of the deficiencies. Right. So maybe we come in and it's $5,000, $7,000, depending on what kind of repairs and how intrusive the repairs have to be. Maybe it's $1,000, right? Maybe it's something minimal. But then separate from that, we want to be pitching the ongoing maintenance agreement, because we want them to understand that all roofs need to be maintained. All right. And so I shared something the other day, actually. I don't know if any of you guys saw it. I put it in the community. I talked about how I was talking with Brian back and forth the other day, and he told me he woke up from like at 3 o'clock in the morning. Like, I don't know if it was a dream or a nightmare, but he was dreaming about roofs. And he said that he had this idea that, let's just say on average, a roof was supposed to last 25 years. Well, if you do the math, that essentially means that, like, if every roof was going to last 25 years, that means, like, based on the law of averages, 4% of roofs would need to be replaced every year. right? So if you do the math, it's like 4% times 25 years is going to be equal 100. So yeah, 4% of roofs need to be replaced every year. But where we were laughing is like, we were like, okay, so if 4% of the roofs that you need to look at based on the law of averages are going to need replaced, there's 96% that need maintained, right? To stretch them out a little, to stretch out their life a little bit further. And so if you guys are unfamiliar with that, I'll post it again in the community and you guys can give me your feedback on it. That was a lot. Okay. So that is, if we circle back, that's basically how we're going to take our old clients and get more money out of them, and how you guys can do it. Literally get appointments with those people on the calendar this week or next week, and start working those deals if you